Hey folks, Joe here. The guy who accidentally, I have to add accidentally, I accidentally told Johnny Sack that joke Ralphie made about Jenny. Oops. And I'm here to talk about UFC Patty. Cultured now. Paris, UFC Paris. It was pretty alright. You know, I had fun watching it. I don't have a ton of takeaways really. But it was nice to leave the Apex. But enough talk. Let's just get to the fights.
Here comes the money. Here comes the money.
Main event, Renato Moicano, who I still remember having a lot of promise at 145. And he's taking on Benoit Saint-Denis, who is super fun. But people had questions if he got pushed too quickly. He was rank 11 going into his fight with Dustin Poirier, who was ranked 3rd, I believe, at the time. So, first round, man, Moicano puts a stomping down. He gets a takedown, maybe, I think around the 30-second mark. He gets a takedown, takes the back, transitions to mount, and just starts dropping elbows. And it felt like the entire round was him smashing elbows and me going, "Wow, they didn't stop this. Wow, they didn't stop this." Because it was bloody, like a lot of cuts opening up, a lot of swelling. It was pretty awesome, honestly. Second round was pretty slow, but the ref called it off in between rounds 2 and 3. The doctor did. Benoit Saint-Denis' face is like just like one solid piece. You remember how Mike Perry's nose looked after Vicente Luque flying kneed him in the face? Imagine that, but for just like a complete side of his face. That just one side of his face, just completely like that. Horrific. 2 straight losses for him, but you know, I think he definitely got jumped up. I think this answered the question that he got pushed up too fast, but he's a lot of fun, and you know, he was able to keep it competitive against Dustin Poirier, and I want to see more of him. You know, regardless of this, he's still relatively young, if I remember correctly, so he could definitely have a pretty solid future in this division. Because Moicano's pretty experienced. Like, despite looking young, he really isn't that young. He actually has fought tons of names. At featherweight, he fought the greatest of all time, Jose Aldo. But he also fought Korean Zombie, Brian Ortega. Did he fight Cub Swanson? I know he fought Jeremy Stevens. And then he's fought, like, RDA already. Jalen Turner at UFC 300 was one of the funnier ones. It always makes you think of Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Like when the McPoyles are being held over the ledge. "I got you, brother. I got you." "No, you don't." Like, there's a meme for that fight based on that. I always think of that. Jalen Turner actively screwing his chances of getting a performance of the night bonus and losing, he opened the door for Moicano to win, and Moicano took it. You know. Well, he also fought Calvin Kattar and beat him. I think he beat him on the feet. So, you know, Moicano's been around the block. He's pretty good everywhere. Definitely a better grappler than a striker, but he's pretty good everywhere. And he could be entering title contention here. He called out Patty and Dan Hooker. Patty's just easy money for him, which is why he wants it openly. That's why he wants it. I think that's hilarious. And Dan Hooker would be fun too, honestly. Definitely down for that. Next up, co-main event, Nassourdine Imavov versus Brendan Allen. A fight that, admittingly, even though it's not the main event, probably has more immediate title ramifications now. Because Brendan Allen's kind of streaking. He's got a lot of hype behind him. And Imavov, you know, I think his only loss in the UFC is to Sean Strickland at light heavyweight. But still, you know, lost to Sean Strickland. Embarrassing. I'm kidding. And so this fight opens up with Brendan Allen just getting a huge slam. Like, feels like right out of the gate. Like, first round, big slam. He stays on top. It definitely a Brendan Allen round. Round 2, he starts going for takedowns. And Imavov is countering them. He's stuffing them. He'll let the fight go back to the feet sometimes. Or if Brendan Allen is really trying for it, he'll reverse them and get on top and land good ground and pound. Imavov just kind of seemed to figure him out. Like, he just kind of got it. Was always, when he would stuff a takedown, he was usually ending up on top. When he would be there for a good amount of time, landing some ground and pound. And when they were on the feet, he was the better striker. And he wins a unanimous decision, and he gets a pretty, not like a crazy comeback, but, you know, after dropping the first round, you know, pretty solid adjustments, which is what you want to see from these guys. Like, you kind of want to see, like, adjustments made after issues and stuff like that. You know, I think stuff like that is really important when you're really trying to break into the next level of the game, showing you have that ability. Like, it's one thing if you're really good at ramming your head against a mountain until it moves. Like, if you're really good at that, then sure. But eventually you're going to have to, like, figure out, like, how to move this mountain a different way, you know? Because sometimes that doesn't always work. You can't just brute force your way into everything. A lot of guys will have great success doing one thing, but the second they meet that resistance, they don't know how to deal with the rest, right? You know, great fighters find ways around it, in a sense. Or the best fighters, they just don't care. It's kind of a weird, you know that like graph where it's like, it starts off here, then you hit that curve, and then it just goes right back down here, the further along you get. The greatest fighters, the two greatest fighters I can think of, just actively don't care. You know, oh, you're an amazing striker and Division I wrestler? I'm shooting a double on you. Oh, you're one of the guys who's really gotten good at calf kicks? Just, I don't care. Like, you're not going to calf kick me. I'm going to counter you every time you miss. Two best ever. Ladies and gentlemen, the two greatest ever. GSP and Jose Aldo. Actively not caring at all about what your opponent brings to the table. It's not necessarily true. I'm mostly joking, but their game plan is not getting stopped. So when you're at this point, because we're at this point in the graph in this division, you know, you kind of need to be able to adjust your game plan. For the rest of the card, like I said, I don't have a ton. William Gomes, I think is how they were pronouncing it, beat Joe Anderson Brito by the best kind of cooking, home cooking. Joe Anderson Brito definitely won that fight. I do not understand. People were like, oh, it was close. Was it? Not the worst I've ever seen, but up there. It's pretty bad this year. It's pretty topped of this year that I can think of. Brian Battle, he continues to ask the hard-hitting questions. That's what I like about Brian Battle. He asks the hard-hitting questions. He asks questions like, am I actually good or am I just Apex filler? I don't know the answer to this question. I've been trying to figure that out ever since he won The Ultimate Fighter. I kind of started to think that he's actually just good, but I also don't know. Because I feel like he fights every other weekend. Maybe that's just me. Maybe they're all running together, all these Apex cards. But he was an Apex filler here. He was in Paris, so clearly they got some respect for him. And he got a second round TKO over Kevin Jusseau that ended with him taunting the crowd. The French crowd. He was like, y'all thought a Frenchman was going to beat me? Which I found really funny. I found incredibly funny to me. Morgan Sharid got a second round KO over Gabriel Miranda. Faris Ziem got a knockout of the year candidate with a third round knee on Matt Frivola. This knee is so funny because Matt Frivola is like this, stance-wise, like his head's here, gets hit with this knee. It is kind of ridiculous. I had that when I was watching it. I went, what? Like, people move like that? That isn't just like a Ricochet, Ricochet, Will Ospreay just oversell, like Shawn Michaels, Dolph Ziggler style. I don't know. It was wild. It was insane. Ian Cutelaba got a split decision, almost said unanimous, split decision over Ivan Erslan. Omar Sy beat Dawon Jung by unanimous decision. Ludovic Klein, who I'm actually starting to come around. He's actually kind of fun. He beat Roosevelt Roberts by unanimous decision. Taylor Lapilus got a unanimous decision over Vince Morales. And Ailin Perez, probably going to be the most talked about fight on the card. Missed weight, looked frail, was really scary. Gets an arm triangle choke in the first round over her opponent, Daria Seleznyakova. Tried, guys. Gets the arm triangle choke, then gets up, twerks in front of her, looks back, sees where her head is, moves her ass to, like, twerk it again. It made no sense to me. It was super funny. And then she like gave her a hug, like kissed her on the mouth, like, oh, thank you so much, I respect you. It's like, you twerked in her face. And it's like, I know that's your thing. That's like her one personality trait. Her twerking is basically the CrossFit, you know, in a sense. Where it's like, did I mention I twerk? Sure, dude. That's your personality trait. Like, yeah, you know, I was walking my dog, which was really easy because I CrossFit. Did I mention I CrossFit? It's same kind of thing. It's kind of cringy. I gotta be honest. It's kind of cringy. Not a classy woman like my Alexa Grasso. I couldn't help that. That was not a good joke. Couldn't help it. Daniel Perez beat Victor Altamirano by unanimous decision. Jacqueline Cavalcante, last name I haven't heard in a while, beat Nora Cornoli by Cornoye, maybe? I don't remember how they said it. By split decision. Finally, Chris Duncan beat Balaji Oki by guillotine choke in round 1. We're always trying to make the Patreon a better place, so you really get your money's worth. I don't mind unveiling this now. I'm trying to get a Discord going. I'm trying to find out how like bots work for moderating, so we don't have like any like troublemakers and stuff like that in there. That should, in my opinion, I think should be open for everyone. It's like anyone that watches the channel and subscribes and all that. Jump in, and it's kind of a fun little community place where we can talk about fights, movies, just other things. Kind of have like a community, like a real community thing going on there. So I'm working on that as well. Stuff like that. And you know, of course, like, you know, Patreon exclusive stuff within that as well to kind of expand on that. That's of great value. Honestly, we're planning so much for the Patreon. What else could be in it? That's right. As a bonus, you get to request any fight card you want, as long as I can get my hands on it, for the retro review series, which I'm working on today because I have a massive backlog. Turns out, trying to change jobs and deal with incredibly bad tooth pain, I'm trying to get these wisdom teeth removed, is hard to juggle, you know, for sure in life. So definitely trying to get this going, trying to make things work, and so I'm going to shoot these today, try to get them going for everybody. So thank you for your patience on these, but that's all I got today. I'm Joe with the INC. Thank you so much for watching.